Mick Philpott, a name etched in British criminal history, became synonymous with tragedy and deceit. His story, a chilling blend of domestic chaos and calculated evil, shocked the nation. From seemingly ordinary beginnings, Philpott's life spiraled into a maelstrom of manipulation, violence, and ultimately, unimaginable loss. Philpott craved the limelight, relishing media attention for fathering 17 children with multiple women. He reveled in his self-proclaimed superdad image, appearing on television and openly discussing his unconventional lifestyle. His notoriety, however, would soon take a sinister turn. Behind the facade of a happy, unconventional family lurked a darker truth. Philpott's life was marred by violence, control, and a shocking disregard for the lives of those closest to him. This is the story of Mick Philpott, a man driven by his own desires, a man whose actions led to the deaths of 6 innocent children and forever shattered the lives of those who knew him. Michael Philpott was born in England in 1955. His early life was marked by instability and hardship, factors that undoubtedly shaped his personality. Raised in poverty, Philpott's childhood lacked structure and guidance, contributing to his rebellious nature and disdain for authority. He developed a reputation for aggression and a volatile temper, often resorting to violence to solve disputes. His first brush with the law came at a young age, marking the beginning of a long and troubled history with the criminal justice system. At 19, Philpott committed a serious crime, a violent assault on his former girlfriend. He stabbed her multiple times and left her for dead. This brutal act landed him in prison for 7 years, a testament to his capacity for violence and anger. Prison, rather than rehabilitating him, seemed to solidify his disregard for rules and societal norms. It became a breeding ground for resentment and further fueled his sense of invincibility. Upon his release from prison, Philpott's life continued down a troubled path. He struggled to hold down jobs, often blaming others for his misfortunes. His criminal record, marred by the violent assault, made it difficult for him to find stable employment. He drifted from one menial job to another, resorting to petty theft and fraud to make ends meet. Philpott seemed to thrive on chaos, his life a revolving door of short-lived relationships, financial instability, and run-ins with the law. His personal life mirrored this turmoil. He fathered 17 children with different women, often juggling multiple relationships simultaneously. Philpott ruled his household with an iron fist, subjecting his partners to physical, emotional, and financial abuse. The women in his life, often vulnerable and dependent on him, endured his controlling behavior out of fear or desperation. Philpott's manipulative nature allowed him to maintain control, using intimidation and violence to silence any dissent. The year 2012 marked a turning point in Philpott's life, one that would irrevocably alter his destiny and expose the true depths of his depravity. In the early hours of May 11th, a fire engulfed Philpott's home in Derby, England. The blaze, which rapidly spread through the council house, trapped 6 of his children inside. Neighbors watched in horror as flames consumed the building, their desperate attempts to rescue the children hampered by the intensity of the fire. Firefighters arrived to find the house ablaze, a scene of utter chaos and devastation. Tragically, all 6 children, aged between 5 and 10, perished in the inferno. The news of their deaths sent shockwaves through the community and beyond, leaving a nation grappling with the unimaginable loss of innocent lives. Philpott, who escaped the blaze with his wife and another adult present at the house, appeared distraught in front of the cameras. He sobbed uncontrollably, mourning the loss of his children and portraying himself as a grieving father. However, as the investigation unfolded, a more sinister narrative began to emerge. As investigators sifted through the charred rubble of the Philpott home, a chilling picture began to emerge. The fire, they determined, had been no accident. It had been deliberately set. Gasoline poured through the letterbox while the children slept upstairs. Suspicion immediately fell upon Mick Philpott. His behavior in the aftermath of the fire, while seemingly that of a bereaved father, struck investigators as staged and insincere. Further investigation revealed a tangled web of motives and a cold-hearted plan hatched by Philpott and his accomplices. The trial, which captivated the nation, exposed the depth of Philpott's depravity. The prosecution argued that Philpott had orchestrated the fire as an act of revenge against his former live-in girlfriend, Lisa Willis, who had recently left him, taking her children with her. They alleged that Philpott, enraged by her departure and the loss of control over her and the benefits he received for the children, planned to frame her for the fire and regain custody of the children. His wife Marie and a friend, Paul Hartley, were implicated in the plot, their roles in the horrific scheme slowly unraveling through witness testimonies and forensic evidence. The Philpott case became a media sensation, dominating headlines and sparking public outrage. The image of Philpott, the self-proclaimed superdad, weeping crocodile tears for the cameras while secretly responsible for his children's deaths, disgusted the nation. The trial, broadcast live on television, provided a disturbing glimpse into the dysfunctional world he had created. Testimonies from former partners painted a horrifying picture of domestic abuse, manipulation, and control. The public watched in disbelief as Philpott, showing no remorse for his actions, attempted to deflect blame and manipulate the courtroom proceedings. His arrogance and lack of empathy only solidified the public's perception of him as a cold-hearted monster. The jury ultimately found Mick Philpott, along with his wife Marie and friend Paul Hartley, guilty of manslaughter. The verdict, met with a collective sigh of relief from a nation desperate for justice, marked the end of a harrowing chapter in British criminal history. Mick Philpott was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum term of 15 years. His wife Marie and accomplice, Paul Hartley, were also handed lengthy prison sentences for their roles in the horrific crime. The sentence, while bringing a sense of closure, could never truly compensate for the loss of 6 innocent lives. The tragic case served as a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of domestic violence, manipulation, and the unchecked rage of a narcissistic personality. Mick Philpott's name remains etched in the annals of crime, a chilling example of how a father's love can be twisted into a weapon of unimaginable destruction. The legacy of his actions extends beyond the charred remains of his home, serving as a haunting reminder of the vulnerability of children and the importance of vigilance against domestic abuse in all its forms. The case continues to spark debate and fuel calls for greater awareness of child protection issues and the often hidden signs of domestic abuse. The 6 children who perished in the fire are remembered not only as victims of a horrific crime, but as symbols of a system that failed to protect them. Their tragic deaths serve as a stark reminder of the need for constant vigilance and a commitment to ensuring that such a senseless tragedy never happens again.